Oh, hello, and welcome to day two of hashtag Everyone Can. With us today, well, first and foremost, my name is Jeremy Bloom. I am the founder and chief mentor of ohhello.io. I have a special guest with me right now. Very, very special guest. He, she, they are the Lord of RTB, the programmatic prophecy, advertising's Aristotle, marketing's mystic maven. With us today, ladies and gentlemen, AdTechGod, ATG. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, bonjour, Jamie. How
Are
are
you
you
joining
doing?
us from France?
I am. I'm hidden in my Airbnb, trying not to, you know, let people know who I am. So far it's been amazing and an amazing experience.
What has the best session been thus far, while at Cannes?
Um, the bar
All of
session.
them?
I would say, honestly, I would say all of them are really good. I think the greatest part about con overall is just the networking and the experience you have just talking to people. Um, I'm obviously a big supporter of the industry overall, so I love hearing and seeing tweets and posts about the industry, whether it's creative winners or whether it's new partnerships or potential partnerships down the line. So I absolutely love it.
That's great. That's great that you're such a big fan. Part of the reason that we decided to set when I say we, I'm referring, I guess, to me. When I decided to set this up for Everyone Can, it is basically to make all of the goodness of advertising, marketing, SaaS, tech, media inclusive. So whether you're joining us from France, from the Croisette, I don't know French, I'm sorry, guys. If you're joining
Me
us
neither.
from your, thank you, your home office, if you're joining us from an actual office, or if you're looking for work right now, which a lot of people in our industry are, what I thought would be so helpful is just making this stupid easy, seamless, and
Yeah,
having some really good guests like you come on, ATG. So why don't we just take a step back? Thank
sure.
you so much for joining us. Uh, I have the pleasure of knowing and understanding your mission, but why don't we take a step back and tell us like how you got started? This seemed to
Yeah,
be a fun meme account that has just cascaded and ascended into a wonderfully positive personality that everyone
right,
in this
right.
industry is embracing. So tell us a little bit more about just how you got the idea, and we'll go from there.
Well, let me, I think, first and foremost say that I am not deserving of being here. I think there are so many people in this industry that do so much on the ground, whether they're, I say this all the time, whether they're in sales, business development, out operations, whether they're engineers, whether they're accounts payable and receivable. I think there's so many people that make this industry tick. Um, and I think the select few that are lucky enough to attend this type of event really get so much experience and interaction with people that are kind of, just part of the overall wheel that just keeps rolling, right? We're all a spoke in this giant wheel of ed tech. And I think all of our contributions matter so much. And it's hard to see people who are upset that this event is happening. And at the same time, seeing so much good coming out of it by creating new opportunities and roles and jobs and future careers. So it's a little bit tough to be on both sides of that spectrum to support it and at the same time say, well, maybe they should allocate that budget to keeping someone employed. So during a very odd time in our industry, I think there's so much good that this type of event could bring.
Love that positivity, but help those that are watching this live stream or that are going to be watching the recording
Sure.
understand just how you developed um, this amazing account and this personality. Give us a little bit of a lens into the mind of ATG.
Um, so I've always been a Twitter user. And when I say that, I mean for years and years. I just wasn't active. I was one of those guys that just kind of read what was going on, followed hashtags, followed, the more popular people on Twitter, and but never really gave any feedback. And in October 2020, if you remember, we had something called a pandemic, and everybody was locked up at home. And I felt that I needed to just have a voice and give my opinion of things. So whether it's sarcasm or just making fun of the industry overall. And it was just fun. I just did it, watching TV at night when the kids were sleeping. And it was enough to just make me chuckle. And somehow it took off. 3 years later, it's thousands of people. I feel like a lot of people know the name, but really it's just a hobby. There was really no intention of this ever reaching this point.
It's amazing. So, a hobby to be able to just exert your opinion, to let loose, to engage with some great people in our industry. What a couple things that I picked up on there is that you're a father. You had mentioned,
I am
um, which is from one father to another. I appreciate that. It's nice to have some extracurricular hobbies outside of parenthood, where you can, at the end of the day, just engage with other
definitely.
adults. And yeah, um, did you ever think that this account would ascend to having roughly 13,000 followers on Twitter, thousands on Instagram, building your new LinkedIn presence? Help us understand, like, what the steps were to build this brand, and the fact that it started as a meme account but took such a positive spin, where
Yeah.
people want to engage with you. People enjoy the personality. This is not, you are the farthest thing from an online troll. And we've all seen a
Yeah,
lot of
no, not
online
at all. Yeah.
trolls. No, farthest thing from it.
Yeah, it's look, definitely not trying to be a troll. Um I know I make fun of things at times, but it's all poking fun, things that we all think anyway, but maybe not say. I'll say it because nobody knows who I am anyway. So it can come back to nobody. Um, but the positivity really comes from just, it's been a rough ride over the last 3 years. So when we talk about the stress of the pandemic, the stress of what would happen to our careers, this sudden boom of connected TV in the industry, seeing a flood of jobs into the market, and then the reversal of a lot of those jobs being eliminated later on. It's a lot of emotions, a lot of stress and pressure people are feeling over time. And then you talked about the competitive landscape changing so much, right? We have, the connected TV industry is changing so much across the consolidation. You're seeing competition becoming quite fierce in the ad serving SSP world. You're seeing DSPs and SSPs really kind of merging into a singular, ad network platform model. And so I felt that it was important to just kind of poke fun, and it turned into, hey, Bob doesn't have a job. Like, can somebody just help Bob? Jenny is not working. Can you reach out to her? She does ad ops, or he does sales or business development. And then surprisingly, it worked. And until this day, I still do it. I think I posted one the other day. I posted one 3 or 4 days ago. On occasion, I reach out to people randomly and say, hey, I saw that you're looking for work. Are you unemployed? And if they say yes, I say, great. Do you mind if I just tweet something about you? And if you get something, great. And if you don't, I tried. I feel like I did something. So it's really just a minimal effort to help people.
Yeah, you're a mensch. It's a really wonderful thing. What what is your mission? What is your mission becoming at this point? Because going from an outlet, a hobby, a mix of dashing in some sarcasm, to seeing that you're helping, that you're connecting people, that you're engaging with folks, that you are, uh, helping to educate people, others, on what the space is within marketing technology, within advertising technology, within SaaS. I guess
Right.
the mission to me seems like it's just constantly been evolving. Can you kind of just dive into, um, where you're going? Because I know that you're building a platform, but I think it'd be helpful, and I want to be able to use this opportunity to mutually do good, to be able to do good for you because you do
No.
good for so many people, to be able to explain. what the new AdTechGod.com platform is and what you're trying to
Yeah,
build. Um,
sure,
Please go ahead.
sure. It's still really early on. I mean, I think as I kind of flush out the details, I want to say that it wants. I say it wants because I feel like it's going to be constantly evolving over time. But I want it to be just a central hub. I think we get lost in the clutter of LinkedIn, and I think we get lost in the clutter of job posting sites because there's just so much variance in roles. When we talk about ad tech in particular, I think people are looking to level up their knowledge. I think training and certification is really key for people to grow. If you don't stay up to the latest and greatest tech or offering in market, you can really get lost, and that can happen within a month of you just not staying up to date. Because things move so fast. So be able to keep people up to date on technology changes, keep people up to date on new trends, provide obviously a job post, which is probably the easiest and most helpful piece. Um, and then I'll diversify over time with the podcast and just getting to know people.
So with that, what are some trends that you're seeing? I'm gonna ask three different questions, and I'll come back to them. And as you and I talked earlier, ATG, we're gonna keep this super loose, super informal. Um,
Sure.
what are some First and foremost, what are some trends that you're seeing? Second, we'd love to get a better idea of just some of the great people. Feel free to call out great people that you've met from having this account or just interacted with, whether it's Linda Yaccarino or if it's Elon Musk or if it's C-suite or founders of other amazing MarTech or ad tech companies. And then also just let's start with those two. I don't want to throw too much at you. Start with those two. Some trends that
Oh
you're
man.
seeing in the space.
So trends, obviously we're seeing SSPs diversify, DSPs diversify how they work with publishers, SSPs how they diversify with supply path optimization overall. I think we're seeing um, an overall entrance into the market from companies like Whirl, from mobile focused companies across the board are trying to utilize that data that's very enriched and unique. I think we're also seeing AI really scaling. I saw something earlier today that had said, if you think investment in AI has started, it hasn't even started yet, and wait to see where that money flows. So as the investments diversify, I don't think we're seeing any type of contraction in the space. I actually think we're just seeing a diversification in the space. And I think that's why it's so important to stay up to date because you can get very, very lost and outdated very, very quickly in this industry. And I think if I can help provide that knowledge base to people, then it just makes them better to go get a better job and to provide for their families.
That's very altruistic. That's wonderful to hear. Where do you stay up to date, and how do you stay up to date?
Twitter.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of stuff is Twitter. I think certification through sites are good. Obviously, educational programs like you have Digital Grade at Magnite has a great like basics training. We talked to the trade test certification is important to understand that perspective coming directly from Jeff Green. I think that's super important to hear him out. But you have a lot of experts on Twitter that really are open discussion rather than more uniform press release on LinkedIn. And I've said this before, it's not every day you get to interact with Vinny from Hershey, right? It's not every day that Barry
He's
Paparo
a good dude.
can say something to you and give you
Great dude.
advice. um, it's not every day that Eric French only follows AdTechGod.
Awesome
And
dude. Yep.
I'm the only guy who follows, which I thought was cool. So I think overall, I think the open, yeah, if you check, that's what I mean. That was a couple weeks ago. But so if you really want to learn, I think it's okay to ask questions. And I am not right all the time. I am wrong most of the time. But I think what's important is reading the feedback and asking why. And I think that's why a lot of my posts are done the way they're done.
So what you just said about you're not right all the time, do you think that it also comes with a level of maturity and a level of experience, self-awareness?
Um, yeah, nobody's perfect. Maybe it is a maturity. I think it's also just you can't possibly be an expert on everything. But you should be a generalist if you can. So you don't need to understand the details of how an SSP works or a DSP works or a DMP works or whatever, but you should understand the basic functionality of that technology, or else you can't speak the same language as the other people in the room. So I think it's really important to just have a good overview of the industry overall.
That's fair. That's fair. Going back to one of my earlier questions, which I was snowballing into a few. Some of the personalities that you've met, that you've engaged with through Twitter, through LinkedIn, through other social platforms. What are some memorable experiences that you've had thus far, or just a wow factor that has come in?
You, you know, I think the first one was Elon Musk liking a tweet. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, I think it was so much Linda, obviously wondering who I was and commenting, but in terms of real interaction with people, I think it's all of them. I think it's you. I think it's Vinny. I think it's Eric Bapari. I think it's Eric Frenchy. I think it's Anthony Couture. I think it's Paul Gubbins. I think it's Warren, Jeremy Sonny, Lou Pascalis. I mean, everybody, right?
Oh
The
yeah,
interaction
a lot of
of that I've had across Twitter has been amazing. Lindy Johnson, you're talking, big shout out to the last party cookie. I don't know if you're there. People are going to laugh if they're not on Twitter, but human
last
propensity,
party cookie.
amazing, is
Yep.
amazing. Totally beats his own podcast. Um, but yeah, I think I've just interacted with so many great people. It's hard to list them all.
I'd love to be able to turn this over to our audience to see if those
Sure.
watching have some questions. If you go ahead and put in the comments for anyone watching live, it would be wonderful to have you ask ATG some real time questions. Uh, if you see my eyes moving over, I'm just going over to my monitor. I'm refreshing LinkedIn to see any comments that have come in since we started. Um, a lot of people said that they're listening. I
How many people
want to
are
see.
listening? I'm curious. I can see Twitter. I know there's a few on Twitter. There's got to be at least 4,000 on LinkedIn. Just kidding. I'll take it though.
Quite possibly. I'll tell you this. After, well, I just put up a tab and I can see at one point there are 9 or 10 people. Uh,
Great. Perfect.
Up here. Oh,
There you
hello
go.
from a LinkedIn user. Well, thank you, LinkedIn
An
user. We
anonymous.
appreciate that. First time caller. Um, but I can tell you just from creating a lot of content from Oh Hello, and I have recorded 55 pods or so, and I've released approximately 30, 31. And amongst those pods, I mean, I can confidently tell you that I get 10,000 plus views and thousands of minutes watched of each one. So creating content for anyone that's curious, it is entirely worth it, especially if you have experience, if you are accountable, if you are not a bullshitter, if you're real, if you're authentic, if you so like what ATG is doing, what I've been doing with Oh Hello, um, it's absolutely worth it. It looks like Mark Donatelli has posted something. What
Hey,
prompted
Mark.
the recent turn towards altruism, or has it always been the goal?
It was not the goal. I could tell you that if I'm being totally honest. I think the goal was just sarcasm and commenting. I think it was when I started to see the layouts happening. I think it's where it flipped the switch for me. I've been laid off before. I've been out of work before, and it's not fun. It's super stressful. I think it creates a bunch of anxiety and stress, both financially and emotionally. And I honestly just felt that if I had the type of network that I have today, would I have been that stressed? And the answer is probably no. But the reality is that many of the people that are out of work now may not have such a strong network. So I might as well use mine.
I love that. That is that's one of the reasons I decided to start Oh Hello. I saw that Grant Lariche, who's a former colleague and a friend of mine who started Tube Mobile Canada, he was the one that said Oh Hello. So hello to my friend in Toronto. Um, ATG, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I'm creating a marketplace for mentorship. It is to be able to bridge connections. We all have a little bit of extra time that we can use to give back to corral, to meet up, to essentially pay it forward and help the next generation or our equals. And so that was part of the catalyst for me to start Oh Hello. Seeing so many people out of work and figuring out what my next move was going to be. Having gone from being a really early builder at a wonderful, fast-paced GSD, MSH, FSO kind of company, which was Tube Mogul, and then uh, helping to IPO, helping with the acquisition, then being part of Adobe. What I really wanted to do was just pay it forward and be and make a difference because there's so many great
Right.
people within our industry. Uh, it's people based. A lot of us like advertising and find it interesting because it's innovative and it changes, but there's some wonderfully
Right.
just amazing people.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it too. I think, I'm not getting into the mentorship business. I'm not getting into the training and education business. Like that's not something I'm interested in doing, but it's important, right? So I think a lot of people's mentors might be their current managers, they might be a coworker, it might be management within their company, but you need someone that's a little bit removed from your day to day to give you true, unbiased opinions and guidance. If I didn't have you, Jeremy, to bounce this idea of the podcast with, um, then it would be hard for me to have done this, right? If you didn't say, Sam, if you didn't say like, go out and do it, like do the podcast,
Yeah, when I said
you know,
someone, I said someone
yeah,
go ahead. Like I'm like
right.
someone's going to wind up doing this. ATG, you might as
Right.
well go and do it yourself. Yeah.
Right. And I think
Okay.
that's where I was getting to because um, when I was talking to Sean, um, who you don't know, but when I was talking to Sean, and he basically said, um, you got to do this, do it now, write it out. And then Eric French, he said, do it, ride the wave. Um, and I realized, yeah, maybe I'm onto something. If this could become bigger and I can help more people, then that's great.
Amazing. Amazing. Looks like we have a new comment from Michael. Uh, I really enjoy ATG. Looking back into ad tech for a new job. I was running a performance network for the last few years. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for mentioning that to ATG. It's always nice to receive a compliment.
Tweet,
Uh,
DM me, I'll put it out there. I mean, I'll take a look at your experience. I'll put it out there. I mean, I think the other day somebody was looking for a fractional, what do I call it, fractional CMO. And I
yep.
think three
And
or
we
four
have a
people
whole.
came in. We got a whole bunch of them on Twitter.
Yep.
I'm happy to help. I'm not a recruiter. I don't get paid for it. I'm just happy to do an interaction. Um, and we'll see if anybody comes in and says they're interested, then, it's easy for me.
We actually have, so for everyone can, hashtag everyone can on LinkedIn and Twitter, on Friday, which is going to be day 4, because we decided to start on June 20th. We decided to push what was originally scheduled for Juneteenth on Monday. We postponed that. So today is day 2. Thursday is going to be day 3. Friday is day 4. And on day 4 at 11 a.m. Central, 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern, we have a fractional leadership panel with
Oh, nice.
two fractional CMOs or 2 fractional CXOs and a VP of marketing at a brand. And so we're going to be talking just about that. David Berkowitz, who is a friend, and he was one of our first
I know
guests
David.
on the Oh Hello pod. We haven't released his pod yet, but we will shortly. He has created a company called FOAF, FOAF, fraction of a fraction. and we're going to be discussing just that. Another another hello, Camille Fetter, who runs Talent Foot, which is a wonderful executive search and talent company. Camille and I have had in-depth discussions on that exact topic, and her team has spent a lot of time basically helping to place C-suite in fractional-based roles. So, Michael, since you're listening, it is absolutely an area that is it's heating up with all of the changes taking place in our ecosystem. Some businesses are realizing that fractional is the way to go, and having several fractional jobs, it can be quite fulfilling. So, great question. ATG, looking at the time, we've got about 3 minutes left. For those listening, for those watching, we would love some more engagement. The whole purpose of this was to be able to have all of ATG and Oh Hello's fans simply just ask us questions. Ask ATG questions about what he is building and why he does what he does, and just to get in the mind of what started as a meme account, which is turning into a brand. Simply put.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't my intention, but it did, and I think it's great, and I really just think that if it can help people out, I think that's wonderful. I can sleep better at night knowing I'm not a troll, and knowing I'm just trying to help people. You know, I do. You know me. You know me personally,
Yeah.
and so you know how I run, and the way I run is very cautious, which is why I created this account in the beginning. So I think um, being able to just kind of do help and sleep better at night is really the best way for me personally, than being a troll and, causing problems.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great session. I'm
Same.
not a fan of dead air. I'd rather leave on a high note. So, AdTechGod,
Sure.
thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Jeremy.
being on the Oh Hello Pod. For those that missed the Oh Hello Pod with ATG that we released on 420, on April 20th, as our special guest, you can find that
Was
on
it on
YouTube.
420?
It was on 420. It was a
Oh,
special
that's
event.
amazing.
Yep, yep. It just worked out serendipitously. So, Serenity Now. With that said, you can find that on our YouTube page, and feel free to tweet either of us. And we appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for engaging with us during our day 2 of Everyone Can. Tomorrow, day 3, we have an awesome lineup. We have marketers from formerly from Constellation, from McDonald's, from Humana, from Nordstrom's Trunk Club, now the vice president of Potbelly, an executive recruiter, all discussing basically marketers rebranding themselves and how to pivot in this just weird ecosystem that we're in. Marketers be marketing themselves, and also just the loyalty. What does it mean? Brand loyalty, customer acquisition, and then the third component is employee-employer loyalty. We've seen tremendous changes over the past couple of years, and I think it's going to be really relevant to talk about employee-employee relations and what advice that we can give to employers to just be better, to do better, especially for those that were once held in the highest regard. So, with that said, thank you, ATG. Oh, we got a comment from dear friend Joe Madison.
Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Love you, buddy.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. And always thankful for your friendship and your guidance and having me on here.
You too, ATG. AdTechGod, everybody. Thanks for being part of Everyone Can. Catch you tomorrow, everyone, as we're going to be doing day 3, Friday, day 4, Monday, day 5. And then we already have several sessions booked for later next week that weren't even part of Everyone Can, that have organically taken place. But let's take it one day at a time for now. All right. Thanks, ATG. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest
Bye-bye.
of Cam. Cheers.
Thank you.